Let's go back to the phones at 617-830-4750 and see what is on people's minds. More people than we have ever had holding right now. Let's go to our caller from the 757 area code. Who's calling today from 757?
Hi, David. Am I on?
Yes, you are. Who's this?
My name is Sam. I'm from Virginia Beach.
Hey,
I was
Sam.
calling because I just watched your segment that was talking about the Democratic primary polls
Yes.
in regards to Joe Biden.
Okay.
And you talked at length about how some people were saying all the polls are biased and or bogus. And I made a post on your Reddit page about it, and it was kind of verbose, kind of
All right.
lengthy. But the gist of it was is that the polls that you referenced in that segment, I think it was the Morning Consult poll and the Harvard Harris and the Hill Harris X polls, were kind of an interesting choice because the Morning Consult poll, as you say, was opaque and didn't really speak to the issue of age restrictions in the polling data, which I think the whole issue was central to. But also because the Harvard Harris poll and the Hill Harris X poll are both conducted owned by a private equity firm called the Stagwell Group. When I started researching into them, and the Stagwell Group is kind of a private equity firm controlled by Mark Penn, who is a notorious Hillary Clinton strategist and formerly worked in Bill Clinton's administration, and is pretty much the Democratic establishment, quote unquote. Would you agree with that characterization?
I'm not sure about that characterization, but let me say a couple things just to make sure we're on the same page. You called the choice of the polls that I used an interesting choice. I just used the most recent three polls at the time that I put the segment together. So I was going only
Yes.
with the standard of trying to get the most recent possible data. So there was
Well,
nothing beyond
that's
that. The,
fair.
the other thing I think I just do want to mention to you is that a lot of polling companies are owned by large corporations, rich people, etc. And that alone as a disqualifier, I would be skeptical of.
Well, you see, it's interesting because the Stagwell Group actually acquired the Harvard Harris poll, which has been running for 50, 60 years,
Yep.
in 2017, after the 2016 primary. And
Okay.
Harris X, which is a PR and data consulting company, primarily consulting with Google, Amazon, and other companies, does ISP and 5G technology advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden they're partnering with The Hill to do this data. And it's both of these companies are under the larger private umbrella of the Stagwell Group, like I said, that is owned and founded by Mark Penn. And like I said, it's so much interesting just because you chose those polls, but also because the issue seems to be unique to CNN's poll. I found a video from March where you talked about how the favorability poll CNN actually excluded younger voters. And I believe the issue that a lot of people have been writing to you about was specific to a poll from CNN in late April that talked about, well, had the same issue. It didn't have
Okay. If
young
if
pollers
that's
advanced
if that's the
data.
poll people were referring to, then maybe that's not a good poll. I haven't looked at that poll, but that wouldn't change my analysis of the polls I did look at in any way.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I'm not trying to say that we should completely discount the polls because of the financial backing of whoever is supporting them.
Well,
I'm
tell
just
me
saying
what you
it's
are
a
saying. I mean, do you
suspect
think that
issue.
the three polls I use, are they just wrong? Like, have they said, let's just give Joe Biden an extra 5, 10, 15, 20 points? Like, what do you think Joe Biden's real level of support is?
Well, I think it's a little bit weird when I see polls that say 36% of millennials, like the one that you posted from, I think, the Hill Harris X, support Joe Biden. That's just as inconsistent with my experience of reality.
Which
Like,
is what? What do you mean?
I
Like,
don't think
how many people have
I
you
don't
talked
think
to?
a quarter of well, how many people have I talked to? That's hard to quantify exactly, but I know they talked to about 500 people, and I probably talked to about the same amount of people in my
Hmm.
day-to-day life and my social sphere. So I feel like it's kind of ridiculous, and I know this all anecdotal and individual experience, but I mean, 25% of millennials are supporting Joe Biden when we have Pete Buttigieg, one of the youngest people running. We've got Joe Biden. I mean, Bernie Sanders. We've got Kamala Harris. We've
So
got all these other
you
candidates,
just don't believe the
and
results. Is that right? You
36%
just
of
don't,
them.
you think the results are wrong. Am I right about that?
Not exclusively. I'm just saying that there's subversive ways that media companies can influence by selecting
Fair.
specific,
But so
sample
then
sizes.
let's say Joe Biden's level of support really is 36% and you don't want Biden to be the nominee. What's the best thing that that person should do?
Well, I agree with your ends to make your ultimate conclusion that we can't really focus on big pollings that change people's minds. But I do think that if we choose not to focus on consolidated media apparatus, these private equity firms that are buying up polls, and we're kind of missing the forest for the trees. We're focusing on the data and all the reams of data and specific points, but we're not looking at the moneyed influence that operates on a higher operational level. If
I
that
think a
makes
lot of
sense.
people are looking at that. I think either way, what people have to do is just go out and vote for the candidate they most agree with. All right, thank you for the call. I'm going to let you go because I have so
All
many
right. Thank
people
you.
wanting to get on.